By the way, one of the top priorities for the radical left is to do absolutely nothing about the looming crisis at our southern border. They don't care about the death, destruction, and devastation caused by our porous open border. They don't care about the thousands of migrants making the perilous journey north. They just want to deny President Trump yet another accomplishment. Take a look.
I can tell you the Republicans want to have a wall, but the Democrats are told that you can't do that. They are doing a tremendous disservice. The Democrats are doing a tremendous disservice to our country. I don't think Nancy has a clue. And I see that when she says walls are immoral. She doesn't have, she doesn't know. And I wish she did, because she's hurting this country so badly.
Joining us now is Freedom Caucus Chairman Mark Meadows and the author of The Russia Hoax, Fox News legal analyst Gregg Jarrett. All right, Congressman Meadows, you know, I heard something interesting, and that is that there is talk of biometrically tagging some of these illegals, and if they send them back, if they come back, then they face some serious penalties. Are you familiar with that concept at all?
Well, that's part of that smart technology that a lot of our Democrats have been talking about. But really the problem that we have, Judge, is this, is not only do they come back, but they come back over and over and over again because we don't have a border wall or barrier at our southern border. And so, listen, part of this smart technology is certainly part of the solution. But I can tell you the bigger problem right now is that we have a bicameral, bipartisan conference that supposedly has been meeting, and they've only met one time in the last week. They're not even here in Washington, D.C., and they're supposedly coming up with solutions. They're not serious about negotiating.
All right, so they have 3 weeks. The president said, look, I'm giving you 3 weeks, guys. Go in there and hammer something out. You know, bipartisan, both houses. And you're telling me they met once and now they're gone again?
Yeah, they've only met one time. They met Wednesday. They don't have any scheduled meetings to meet again until possibly at the earliest next Wednesday. So it's not really serious about coming up to a solution. And I can tell you, when the Democrats rolled out their first offer, it had zero money for a border wall. And I mean, you know, at this point, you have to wonder if they ever had an intention of negotiating in the first place.
You know what? I don't know who's on this committee, but I'm going to find out, and I'm going to talk about it on my show tomorrow night. Because you know what? You meet once when you've got 3 weeks to resolve one of the most important issues in our country right now, and you plan on meeting once next week. That's an outrage. But I'm going to go to Gregg Jarrett. All right, Greg. The president says there's a good chance, and based on what we just heard from Congressman Mark Meadows, if they don't come up with something, Congress has not wanted to come up with something since 1986. They don't come up with anything. The president has the right to declare an emergency, correct?
He does, under the National Emergencies Act of 1976. Congress actually delegated unfettered authority and discretion to the president. They can whine all they want, but they're the ones who gave him that power. Once he invokes it, he then turns to another law that Congress passed 6 years after that in 1982, which says specifically he is authorized to undertake military construction projects not otherwise authorized by Congress. So they gave him another tool that he can utilize. Right. They can complain all they want. They can sue. In the end, they have no legal basis to prevail.
Okay, so he doesn't need Congress for this.
He doesn't.
And, you know, I just realized, do you know that there have been 58 national emergencies declared since 1976, I believe the law was passed, but 79 when they first did something. And all of a sudden, the president wants to do this. We've got fentanyl, opioids, we've got human trafficking,
heroin,
sex trafficking.
Humanitarian crisis on top of it.
As well.
If Barack Obama can declare a national emergency with respect to Burundi, South Sudan, and the Central African Republic, this president can certainly declare an emergency with respect to Mexico, because you just identified the acute, imminent crisis. And insofar as drugs is concerned, more than 100 people die a day. It has now doubled over the last decade. This is a serious emergency.
And, you know, Congressman Meadows, I believe it was just today or yesterday, one of the biggest catches of fentanyl coming across the border. Enough fentanyl. I don't know if people realize, or viewers realize this, but if you inhale that stuff, it can take out a state. I mean, just the mere presence of it. You don't have to be a drug user. You don't have to have a needle. Nothing. The presence of this stuff can kill off millions of people.
Well, you're exactly right. Even our law enforcement officers many times have to wear gloves when they're doing a search, because if they happen to have it and get even a small dose of this, and I'm not talking about taking it, I'm just saying getting on their skin or inhaling it in some way, they can have just unbelievable and fatal outcomes of that. So, it's not just about the drugs, though. And Greg is exactly right. The president has some executive tools in his toolbox. Members of Congress, we always want to restrain those, but President Barack Obama used it over and over and over again. I can tell you, he sent $1.8 billion to the Iranians. I didn't appropriate that. So if he can do that, certainly the president can find a couple of $1 billion to support the efforts at the border.
$1.8 billion to the Iranians. That's interesting. All right, Greg, I'm going back to you for a second. So let's assume that this committee comes up with nothing, because they won't, because they're not meeting, they're not working, they don't care.
Right.
All right. I say that freely. The president declares a national emergency. Somebody goes to court to stop it, to get an injunction.
Kamala Harris is vowing to do it.
All right. Kamala Harris is vowing to do it, which means it gets done, and then it goes to the Ninth Circuit.
Right.
How quickly can it go to the United States Supreme Court?
Well, the president could actually preempt it all by filing a declaratory relief action to get an immediate judgment from a federal court. But if he waits for the Ninth Circuit and they decide against him, which would be wrong by them, but they always get it wrong.
They will.
Then he would seek an emergency petition to the U.S. Supreme Court. But, Kamala Harris, how embarrassing. She was the state attorney general in California. She says this is an abuse of power. Clearly, she hasn't read the law that Congress passed giving the president the authority, and she's a member of Congress.
Well, the amazing part of it, Congressman Meadows, is that, right is wrong and wrong is right, and it's almost as though we're living, and I'm going to date myself here, in a twilight zone. It's like what they say is what goes out there, and they believe it, even though facts have nothing to do with it.
Well, you're exactly right. And when they do that, they forget that they voted for border walls before or border fencing. They forget all of that. And, even if Senator Harris thinks she's going to file a lawsuit, there's such a thing as standing. I'm not sure that any member of Congress has standing. It's probably going to be someone else. But Greg's right. There's no doubt they'll file a lawsuit. If they can, they'll file it in the Ninth Circuit. But here's what we have to understand. One party is for securing our borders and keeping our community safe. Another party, the Democrat Party, is for open borders and saying whoever wants to come in can come in. We've got to make sure we stand up for the rule of law, Judge.
It could have been said better. Thank you both for being on this evening.